I just picked up two topics which I thought that I should be able to, at least within a time of what we can talk today. One was around expansion of life, expansion of the self, and the exponential growth one can think of as such. Then the second one was the one which is infinite within the finite. What this means is, once we think of a person who is just limited to oneself, he could be called as a selfish or he can be compared to a simple dog, which very beautifully Rama Tirtha explains to us. Even today, when I just think of the speeches, what it is, I have got to know through the speeches what I have read, in the up to volume 3 what I have read up till now. And when you look at it, it really excites that how is it such a man who is in the world which is so far away from India, talked about India and talked about Vedanta, and then it is so simple to understand. And then one of the questions which they said, well, what do you mean by expansion of the life? What do you mean by one can think of himself which is beyond such an energetic, such a full of love, such a person who can do anything which is possible? Because one of the speeches Rama Tirtha says, when I talk something, it is as if the whole country is talking, whole India is talking. When I do something, the whole world, the whole set of people who are behind me, I have the energy in me. So which is what he says, when a person considers himself as a point, he will be considered as an individual. When he expands into a larger part of the circle, or an unfinished circle, or a circle which is bigger than this, or the straight line when it comes into it, he puts it so beautifully in terms of a mathematical formula that there is nothing called a straight line, there is only a circle. It is just that we are not able to see the finishing of the circle. It's just that the visibility of a person is only a straight line up to which one can think of as such actually. So when I was referring to this, what is the influence as an individual we can make it? Let's just give an example of what we as Rama Tirtha Foundation itself is as such actually. With all respects and the hard work and the kind of dedication which our Guruji Sri Raghavendra Shana is doing it through Rama Tirtha Foundation, what does it mean? It's basically is the one to just impart the knowledge, to impart something which I have as a gift, that so that 500 more people or 1,000 more people are able to impart into it as such. So what this means is one individual, if we can have 1,000 people who are capable of what me as an individual have been able to do, can we not, as individuals who are the students, who are the followers, in some way we have benefited from what we go to the yoga class or what we hear from him or what each one of us talk around this whole concept of Vedanta, the humanity or whatever it is called, but can we not do it? So it's a question mark. To an extent what we feel is in each one of the consequence on each one of the acquaintance which each one of us are responsible for around the community, around the family, around the country, around the universe, whatever it is. Can we make contribution to or the difference to the life what each one of them have been living? So just think of it, one person what can be doing versus the tens of thousands of people who can be doing it. That's what he calls it as an exponential growth from a one person thinking. So it is the live example which as Rama Tirtha Foundation has been able to do it. So whenever I read this book, in fact it's an opportunity for me to think differently. In fact, this gives a totally different meaning when I read about this about 2 months back, when I read it yesterday or when I think of it today or as I'm speaking today as such actually. This is the expanse of the meaning which Swami Rama Tirtha could give us at that time. So he also says, when he says that exponential growth, he beautifully thunders or he shouts at the top of his voice, and he says this, whether working through many souls, which is basically each one of us or each one of the people who live there, or alone, which is himself, alone, Rama seriously promises to infuse true life or the dispel darkness from India, which is basically, he says that at that point of time, just look at the situation what India was going through, which is in the late 1800s or early 1900s, that it was given by under the policy of Britishers or the foreigners, which was not at the peak of the prosperity which as India itself was. He says at that point of time, and he also says, India will be restored to more than its original glory in next 50 years or so. Actually, this is what he says. This is not without a mathematical reason or without a just somebody talking about at the peak of the voice and then saying that yes, this is what it happens. It is not. In fact, somebody said that, why do you say that, Rama? In fact, in one of the speeches he said that it is not me who is thinking, it is the rest of the community or rest of the people who are behind me on behalf of which I have been talking. It is not me alone. I am just one of the small atom of the complete India, but there are tons of atoms or the tons of people who have been working towards it, and this is what I am able to pursue how India itself is looked at. Then this leads me to the next very fantastic point called infinity in finite. Basically, what happens is it looks like an oxymoron. Now there is an infinity and then there is a finiteness. The one which is finite is not infinite. The one, if something is growing, it is not infinite. So he explains it so beautifully. Actually, he gives a fantastic story, which normal people like each one of us should be able to understand. And then at least I was able to, after reading so many times, I could get the gist of what he says. One small child, one very small child in a house, by mistake it gets into a room when his father or his mother or so, nobody is there in the room. And then it just stands in front of a mirror. And as a child, it just looks at its own image in the mirror. And it says that there is one more child and it goes near it and then it starts cuddling the baby and all those things. Then by accidentally the mirror breaks into two. Then actually the child becomes so elated, says I am able to do more of myself rather than one. And then so on and so forth, when the whole mirror breaks into multiple pieces, it looks at multiples of that child himself or that baby itself as such. Mother comes into that room and it starts shouting on the child that why did you do it and all those things. Then the child says that I am one, whereas I am able to see so many people in this. And then this was a story which somebody asked against a question which somebody asked. You keep saying that Aham Brahmasmi, you keep saying that I am everything, I am the most energetic, and then each one of you are me. And then whenever he used to start any of his lectures or talks, he used to say, in fact, he used to say it so beautifully that my own self in the form of ladies and gentlemen here there. In fact, he meant it what it means. If I come back to the story, what I said, basically what it means is as a powerful person, as a person who is a soul, he is one. Whereas what you see on the mirror, the images of it. And he also extends itself into a little bit more, that when a person walks into a room where there are multiples of mirrors, with multiples of colors, with convex mirror, concave mirror, and you name the types of, and the lens or something like that. When he looks at those images, he says something is fat, something is long, something is distorted, something is black, something is orange, something is green, something is red. What does it mean? It's basically the one, soul is the one which is the highest, in our language we call it as a Brahma, and the rest of the ones we are the part of the particles of the Brahma which is there. And so beautifully he talks about saying that don't underestimate any one of you that you are not powerful. You are the most powerful person in the world. You are the person who has the highest compassion. You are the person who has the highest level of understanding. You are the person who has the highest love what you can think of. When you combine all those things, it is so beautiful to say that there is nothing called it is a one individual. It is an interdependent world, which is what is the one which he talks about it so much. Actually, if I keep talking about the different stories or the different narrations, and even the mathematical equations which he talks about it, and even the mental balance or the imbalance which he explains it through a pulley theory. You put some weight on the other side and put a different weight on the other side. And then when both the weights are on the equal, it stands still. But whenever there is a change in the weights on the other side, it keeps moving up and down. And even when you retain back the weight on the other side, when the equal weight is there, still it keeps moving up and down. Basically what it says is, that how stable your mind could be based on how you are able to relate to each one of the people who are there with whom we have been dealing. So if I just keep on talking about it, it just goes on, and then I can never stop. In fact, when Guruji mentioned to me yesterday that I'm supposed to be sharing some of the thoughts about Swami Rama Tirtha, and he also said that it needs to be around 10 to 12 minutes. But I was just thinking myself, is it 10 to 12 minutes sufficient for me? It is not. Because it is so vast, every page could be a few hours, if not few days or a few weeks. It is so fantastic to understand it actually. It is not, I'm not claiming that I have read everything, or I'm not claiming that I have read everything and then I have understood everything. I'm also not claiming that I have understood everything and then I have been able to implement many of the things. But I can tell you that one thing is that after having read that, there is a little bit of change in the way how you look at the people, and then hence how you behave with every individual as such actually. What does this has got to do with Sister Nivedita actually? If we just look at it, this reminds me, I won't talk much about Sister Nivedita because all of us are waiting for Sri Chakravarti ji to talk to us about it and mention about her, and then just let us know what she is. Such a fantastic personality. In fact, I'll tell you, before I came into this place, I read about her again and again, and then I'm impressed more and more about how an individual who is not an Indian, who doesn't have a face like each one of us are, who does not have the background of what each one of us would have been there in the early 1900s or even now, what as a country, what we know, who doesn't know the background of what our epic says or what our many of the granthas talk about. But she had one thing which is called, I use this word called, there is a one, you call it as a chitra, other is called a charitra. The reason why I am using this, and which is very, very apt to what Sister Nivedita is, the chitra is the one what you see on the face, which is why there was lot of I would say initial inhibition to accept her what she was talking about or what she was doing or what she meant. Charitri is the one which is the character which she brought in, which is exactly the reason she became what Sister Nivedita itself is. This leads me to one particular comment Subhash Chandra Bose made. I started loving more of India after having read what Swami Vivekananda had written in his books. But I started knowing about what Swami Vivekananda himself is after having followed what Sister Nivedita itself is. Such a fantastic tribute to what Sister Nivedita is actually. I won't talk much about her as such actually, but to us, to people like us here, what does it mean? For us to know what Sister Nivedita itself is, more and more about it, I think we look forward to nobody other than Sri Chakravarti who is there amongst us actually. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.